Evolution of Mrs. Potts. Beauty and the Beast, 1991. Mrs. Potts is Chip's mother and the castle's head of the kitchen, and has a loving, motherly feel. When the Enchantress curses the Beast, she is transformed into a teapot. In her first appearance, she helps Maurice get comfortable. She helps comfort Belle when she is made to stay at the castle, in exchange for her father's freedom. Mrs. Potts also tries to help the Beast try to become more civil to Belle, although the efforts fall apart when Belle refuses to come to dinner. Later, Mrs. Potts entertains Belle when she's having dinner. When the Beast is wounded, she tries to tend to his wounds with Belle. After learning that there are invaders coming to the castle, she tries to get the Beast to do something, but he declines, still depressed about Belle leaving. She later participates in the Battle of the Castle by having the rest of the dishes pour hot liquid on the villagers. Hocus Pocus, 1993. In the Disney movie, one of the kids who go trick-or-treating is dressed up as Mrs. Potts. Beauty and the Beast on Broadway, 1994. The original Broadway production of Beauty and the Beast, starring Susan Egan and Terrence Mann in the title roles. Beth Fowler played as Mrs. Potts. Beauty and the Beast, The Enchanted Christmas, 1997. After the events of the movie and the abolition of the curse, Belle and the prince holding a Christmas party at the castle, during which the prince's former disdain towards Christmas was mentioned, but the journey to his change of heart seemed to have been forgotten. This leads Mrs. Potts to narrate the story of the time when Belle finally broke the prince's hatred for Christmas. During Belle's captivity in the castle, she spent the holiday season getting the Beast in a good mood. On one particular day, Mrs. Potts and the others gather to form another plan to strengthen the bond between Belle and the master, and during which she nearly mentions Christmas, only to have her mind distracted from the holiday by Mrs. Potts and others, as the holiday is the Beast's most hated day, as it marks the anniversary of the day the curse was put upon him and the castle inhabitants. Eventually, both Mrs. Potts and Lumiere decide to rebel against the Beast and celebrate Christmas anyway. With the support of the other servants of the household, the holiday is secretly put into effect. By the end of the movie, after overcoming various trials and tribulations, most of which threaten the very relationship between Belle and the Beast, the latter becomes joyful with Christmas, and peace to the holiday is restored. Beauty and the Beast, Belle's Magical World, 1998. In the short The Perfect Word, Mrs. Potts was the first to know about Webster, Crane, and LaPlume's plan to write a fake apology letter to Belle. When Belle gets the letter, Mrs. Potts claims she doesn't know who the letter is from. After Belle and Beast make amends, Mrs. Potts is seen hearing the story Belle is reading to the Beast. When Cogsworth tells Beast about the apology letter, Mrs. Potts sees Webster, Crane, and LaPlume flee and goes after them. When she finds them, she tells them that she knew of their plan from the start and suggests that they confess what they did to the Beast. Tarzan, 1999. Mrs. Potts makes a small cameo as a lifeless teapot at Jane Porter's camp. Alongside her is a lifeless teacup resembling Chip. An Extremely Goofy Movie, 2000. When Goofy is making breakfast, a teapot resembling Mrs. Potts can be seen on the table. Mickey's Magical Christmas, snowed in at the House of Mouse, 2001. Mrs. Potts was amongst the Disney character guests snowed in the club. She can be seen alongside the Beast's other servants during the finale song. House of Mouse, 2001. In the episode, Thanks to Minnie, Mrs. Potts witnessed Minnie run off in tears after feeling unappreciated. In The Three Caballeros, she and Chip were interviewed about the episode's titular characters. In Donald's Lamp Trade, Mrs. Potts appeared as an onstage musical guest at the club, but her performance was interrupted by Donald Duck flying from below the stage on carpet. The Lion King 1.5, 2004. A silhouette of Mrs. Potts was seen on top of the Beast's head during the finale of this movie. Meet the Robinsons, 2007. A topiary resembling Mrs. Potts can be seen in the Robinsons' garden. As told by Emoji, 2016. Mrs. Potts appears together with Chip Potts, Lumiere and Cogsworth in the episode Beauty and the Beast, entry of the short series. Beauty and the Beast, 2017. Mrs. Potts appears in the live-action remake, both voiced and portrayed by Emma Thompson. During the final battle, she recognizes the Potter Mr. Potts among the villagers storming the castle, and is reunited with him after she transforms back into a human. It is then revealed that her first name is Beatrice. This version of Mrs. Potts is much younger than her 1991 counterpart. The Owl House, 2021. An abomination teapot resembling Mrs. Potts can be seen in the episode Escaping Expulsion. Beauty and the Beast, a 30th celebration, 2021. Shania Twain appears as Mrs. Potts together with Belle, Beast, Lumiere, Chip and Cogsworth performs Something There. Saturday Night Live, The Mirror 2022. Mrs. Potts appears in the part The Mirror, where an enchanted mirror at the Beast's Pete Davidson castle allows Belle, Chloe Fineman, to see her father, Willem Dafoe, whenever she wants. The Wonderful Spring of Mickey Mouse 2022. When Minnie tries to attack the monster, she throws him Mrs. Potts, Chip and Lumiere. Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers 2022. A bootleg version of Mrs. Pot makes a cameo on a DVD cover, Beauty and the Cursed Dog Man, in this movie. Her bootleg form resembles more a tea jug than a teapot. Her eyes are round, shaped with smaller pupils but no visible eyelashes, and only has 2 visible front teeth.